And we're going back to the top focus here this afternoon. The top court coming down heavily on suspended BJP leader Nupur Sharma, whose remarks on Prophet Muhammad sparked a massive row. The court was hearing a petition that was filed by Nupur Sharma to transfer all the FIRs that are filed against her across the country to the national capital so that her movement is easy. Now, here are the court's top 5 remarks on the matter. And this is the first of it, which says that she faces threats, or has she become a security threat? This lady is single-handedly responsible for what's happening in the country. That was the observation made by Justice Suryakant. And after Ms. Nupur Sharma's lawyer said that she was getting threats and it would be safe for her to travel now, which is why they want all the FIRs to be clubbed together and be shifted to the national capital. Justice Suryakant further stated that we saw the debate on how she was incited, but the way she said all this was, and later says she was a lawyer, it is shameful. She should apologize to the whole country. In fact, Delhi police also pulling up the television channel hosting the debate. So not only Nupur Sharma was pulled up, other stakeholders as well as the television channel, also the law enforcement agencies such as Delhi police were pulled up on the action that's been taken. What has Delhi police done? The court said, don't make us open our mouth. What was the TV debate about? Only to fan an agenda. Why did they choose a sub judice topic? In fact, slamming Nupur Sharma further, the court said the remarks show her obstinate and arrogant character. What if she's the spokesperson of a party? She thinks she can back up power and can make any statement without respect to the law of the land. Very strong comments coming in from Justice Suryakant, and the court further said that as the spokesperson of the party, she felt she could make any statement without respect to the law. So those are very strong comments coming in from the top court, slamming Nupur Sharma, also pulling up the Delhi police as well as the television channel that hosted this particular debate. We'll continue getting more reactions from across fraternities on what their reaction is to this development. For the moment, a quick break.
Welcome back to Newsroom Newsbreak. The Supreme Court has come down heavily on the now suspended BJP leader Nupur Sharma, whose remarks, infamous, blasphemous remarks on Prophet Muhammad has sparked off a massive row. The court was hearing a plea by Ms. Sharma to transfer all the FIRs filed against her under one roof to Delhi so that the case can then be investigated by the Delhi police. The Supreme Court today blamed the now suspended BJP leader Nupur Sharma for igniting tensions with her comments on Prophet Muhammad and said that she should apologize to the whole country. The way she has ignited emotions across India, this lady, the court said, is single-handedly responsible for what is happening in India, said the top court judge. Sukirti Dwivedi joins us now. Sukirti, we have been summarizing all of the judge's comments that you have been sending out from court, but you were in court today. You had a front row scene as this played out in front of you. In your experience and years of covering the court and court cases like this, have you seen what was it like in court when these comments, these scathing comments were made, and have you seen anything like this before?
Well, Sarah, on one hand, while scathing comments are not entirely uncommon, because when recently the Gujarat riots verdict had come out, that judgment had also made a lot of headlines because of the kind of remarks that the Supreme Court had made, saying that the plea by Zakia Jafri has been filed only to keep the pot boiling and there is an ulterior motive to it. So those are not uncommon. But the fact that to make those comments on a raging issue, an issue that is still unfolding, violence pertaining to which is still unfolding. The Gujarat, just to compare it with the Gujarat recent verdict, is that comment had come almost 2 decades after that incident took place. The important part here is that the court is well aware of the fact that there is a lot of violence that has unfolded across the country already, and government authorities are trying to control it. So this is still an evolving situation at the moment. So to make such harsh comments on a situation that is still unfolding, a situation that is still very sensitive, that is very uncommon. To comment on it right when it is the raging issue, and to make such strong comments, and to just divide those comments from the Supreme Court into three parts just to make it simpler for our viewers. One is, of course, the comments against Nupur Sharma. That's the biggest takeaway from this, is how she should apologize to the entire country, how she is single-handedly responsible for the violence across the country that has unfolded since her comments. The fact that she is a spokesperson, and despite that she's been misusing her position in a way by making these provocative statements without understanding the repercussions it would have on the social fabric of the country. She should not be this irresponsible. She should now have to go to courts, and there is so all of those big remarks against Nupur Sharma. The other part is the Delhi police's inaction against Nupur Sharma that has been questioned. The Supreme Court said, what has the Delhi police done? Please do not make us open our mouth. An FIR was registered against her, but look then what happened. A red carpet was laid for her. When you register an FIR against somebody else, that person is immediately arrested, but in this case nobody has dared to touch her. Very strong comments against the Delhi police as well. The third part is, of course, the Supreme Court questioning on such TV debates as well, where it said, why was a matter like this, which is already sub judice, being discussed in a TV debate? The court was referring to the temple and mosque dispute issues that are already in court. So why was it even discussed? And then he raised some questions on the nature of how that entire debate was going on, and then started to make some side remarks on why did you not just go and lodge an FIR against the anchor itself. So those comments as well. So big comments here from the Supreme Court, ranging from Nupur Sharma herself to questioning the Delhi police authorities, to questioning the media of this country right now, which is carrying out this debates in this manner. So very strong comments on the Supreme Court in that respect, that a matter that is so sensitive right now, to come down heavily on the individual that is at the center of this fiasco, and to question the administrative authorities' inaction against that individual. All of that combined is a very, very significant development coming from the top court of the country. Sarah.
And Sukriti, what does this mean for her original plea, based on which, her lawyers felt emboldened enough to go to the Supreme Court to ask for this, and also they claim that, she should not be discriminated against, she should be given the equal treatment compared to others, using, precedents of previous cases. What happens on that front, which is completely separate, with the given the fact that the court, that her lawyers have withdrawn their petition before the court? Does that mean it goes to the High Court and it starts afresh? Will there be referrals, or will you have to acknowledge, of course, that the Supreme Court has made such strong comments on this matter?
Well, Sarah, we'll just quickly take you through the arguments that Mr. Maninder Singh made while appearing for Sharma, and then we'll take you to the part on how the court did not agree to those arguments. What Mr. Maninder Singh was arguing is that these FIRs are being registered across the country. They started off with Delhi, but then spread on to many other states. And as far as the laws laid down in the country are concerned, they prohibit such multiple FIRs against the same offence. And then he started citing issues like that of TV debater and media mogul Arnab Goswami, where it said that in his case press freedom was upheld. So I will compare it to that case. Those rights were upheld. Similarly, that should be done for Ms. Nupur Sharma as well. He also added that Ms. Nupur Sharma is not running away from the investigation. She is ready to cooperate in the investigation. All we want is that we want a fair treatment. Why register multiple FIRs? Why not register one and then carry on with the investigation on that particular matter? And he ultimately said that while I may agree with the court on their views about the fact that her statements are condemnable, all I am asking for is a fair treatment before the eyes of the law. I should not be discriminated against. However, all of those arguments fell flat before the Supreme Court. The exact words that Justice Surikant used was, the conscience of this court is not satisfied with the arguments that have been made. And as soon as he said that, before he could pass any further statements on plea being dismissed, Ms. Nupur Sharma's lawyer said that he's willing to withdraw the plea himself.
All right, Sukiti Dwivedi bringing us those comprehensive reports about what transpired in the Supreme Court this morning. Joining us for more on this, we have Alok Vats of the BJP and Renuka Chaudhary of the Congress. Thanks so much. Ms. Alok Vats, you've heard those comments coming out from the Supreme Court. Nupur Sharma, a former BJP spokesperson, is single-handedly responsible for what is happening in the country. The Supreme Court coming down strong, basically saying that Nupur Sharma spoke with, the power of authority behind her, secure in the knowledge that she had the party's support because she was wearing, that tag of spokesperson for the party. The court going on to say, so what if she's a spokesperson of the party? Does she think she has the backup of power and can make any statement without respect to the law of the land?
Let me tell you one thing. That yes, she had the authority to speak on behalf of the party, but sometimes people go above board in trying to come into limelight. And what she said, if it has hurt the sentiments of the people and has broken the social fiber, the Supreme Court has come out rightly that she should apologize. And I am also otherwise also you see the party has taken action on her. And also by the law, there is an FIR on her. But otherwise, I would feel that she should also apologize to the nation and put an end to this whole story.
Mr. Vats, do you believe, since you've shared your views right now with us, but do you believe that there was a vacuum, there needed to be what we've heard out of the Supreme Court, that this has damaged the social fabric, that she should take responsibility, she should apologize? Do you believe that we should have heard such words or something close or similar from the senior leadership of the party? Yes, I understand that the BJP has, removed her from the post. You're stepping back and cutting yourself off from her, but did we need to see some sort of leadership from the party to come forth and address this? Because it's the elephant in the room that's just been hanging there for the last few weeks, and we've been seeing reverberations, the repercussions and a fallout of her irresponsible comments. I say irresponsible because the court called it that ever since. Mr. Vats?
You see, hello?
Mr. Vats, do you believe that the senior top leadership of the BJP could have helped matters by coming out and speaking up on this and pointing out, or perhaps saying that, Nupur Sharma, who has been missing and not seen at all since these statements come out, and apologize, for example, should this have come from higher up in your party?
See, the higher up has already taken action and she has been expelled from the party. There is an FIR lodged, various FIRs have been lodged on her, and the senior party leadership has already said that the fringe elements in the party made some haywire statement, and we don't agree with it, we don't stand by that. What else could the senior leader do more than this?
What else could the senior leadership have done? Renuka Chaudhary, when the court says she has made irresponsible statements not recognizing the impact it could have on the social fabric of the country, doing so secure in the knowledge that she had the backing of the party, what did it mean by that?
It is most unfortunate that ultimately it's a woman who's going to be the scapegoat for the BJP. I'm not surprised they've just thrown her under the bus, just like this gentleman speaking on your panel. And I'm asking him, why would an appointed spokesperson speak the way he did on national media if that was not the ideology and thinking of the political party that she represented? And none of them opened their mouth. None of them came onto national television to say, this is wrong, this is not our card. We haven't heard Prime Minister say anything on Man Ki Baat. We don't hear anyone say anything about Tan Ki Baat. And now they're actually taking pride that, there's an FIR there and she's missing. I thought they gave her security because there were death calls on her. Now, what Nupur Sharma did was wrong. There is no two things and debate about that. And it took the Supreme Court to take cognizance and come out and say, give direction. This government are deaf mutes, is it? That they don't react. What do they think? They're Mahatma Gandhi's three monkeys sitting with eyes, nose and the mouth and ears shut? That they didn't. They waited for international shame for this country where people picked up and pointed fingers at us. And the government did nothing. The political party did nothing. Now she's the convenient fall guy, throw her under the bus and distance herself. Now I'm asking Supreme Court, sir, with due respect, please take cognizance of the political party who have made divisive policies and politics in this country, who have harassed and killed Dalits on many fronts, whose ministers' children have actually used the vehicle to mow down farmers who were protesting in a democratic right, who have spread hate speeches all over the nation. And we are make one Nupur Sharma is going to solve the case. Oh, we suspended her. How pious. We've removed her. How amazing. And what else can the senior people do in the party? 10 people in the senior ranks didn't come out and condemn and say, why didn't they come onto the national TV and condemn and say that this is not what we have given, this is not the direction that the party believes in, and it's a national shame. Yes, we apologize, we collectively apologize. It is a matter of shame and great concern for us. None of them said it. Now they make one woman, one nice Balika Bakra, shooter. Wow, this is amazing. And they're actually debating on this. There's no if and but. They have to stand up and take collective accountability.
There must be, all right. Renika Chaudhary of the Congress saying that the BJP must take collective responsibility for this. The Supreme Court coming down today hard, calling out not just Nupur Sharma, calling out the Delhi police and also calling out the TV channel that hosted this live debate. But Mr. Vats, I want to ask you about that second point there. The Delhi police, the Supreme Court also calling out, putting on the spot the Delhi police. Nupur Sharma's lawyers went to court arguing for equal treatment and no discrimination, but they came back with much more than they had bargained for, because the Supreme Court points out, makes a very strong observation that when you file FIRs against others, they are immediately arrested. But when it has come to Nupur Sharma, nobody has dared to touch you. It has said basically in no uncertain words, Mr. Vats, that Nupur Sharma has been given treated with kid gloves, that the red carpet treatment has really, a red carpet has been rolled out for her. So strong, the Supreme Court coming down strongly on the Delhi police's handling of this matter, not handling it with the seriousness that it requires, the speed and alacrity that it requires, and the Delhi police comes under the Home Ministry. Your response, Mr. Vats?
हर चीज के लिए प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी को और माननीय गृह मंत्री अमित शाह जी को दोषी ठहराना, ये कहाँ तक तर्कपूर्ण है? जिसने गलती किया उस पर एक्शन हुआ।
मगर सर, आपने अभी कहा है कि आपने एडमिट किया है कि नूपुर शर्मा ने गलती किया है। Mr. Vats?
They have no idea which direction they're going or whether they're coming or going.
Hold on, Renuka Chaudhary. Mr. Vats, go ahead, sir. Mr. Vats, आप क्या कह रहे थे? Please go ahead. Do we still have Mr. Vats? Mr. Vats, आपको सुनाई दे रही है?
हाँ, सुनाई दे रही।
Mr. Vats, the courts have come down very strongly on the Delhi police. Ki Delhi police is not doing its job when it comes to this investigation.
Well, if they have come down heavily on it, then they should be taken to task, and they should now get active and do what according to the
Mr. Vats, the Delhi police comes under the Home Ministry. Who will take them to task?
The Home Ministry will take them to task. If there is an allegation on the Home Ministry, they have to tighten the belt. They are not above the law. They will have to go according to what the court ruling is.
And your response to the Supreme Court saying that in other cases the police acts with alacrity and moves very swiftly. If an FIR is filed, the accused is immediately arrested, but a complete opposite, different treatment seen, soft treatment seen when it comes to Nupur Sharma?
Well, if the court has said something like this, then it must be given due respect. And if they feel that there has been lack of alacrity in this case, then the Home Ministry should tighten its belt and go according to the ruling of the Supreme Court.
Amazing and amazing.
Renuka Chaudhary, we have to go in for a short break. Your quick response on this matter.
I'm just saying it's so amazing and amusing if it wasn't so tragic. What a farce and a total fraudulent attempt to pretend that they're actually going by the law. If it wasn't for the Supreme Court to pull them up by the ears, nothing would have happened. I know that Nupur Sharma was given security to protect her because there were death threats made on her by different people. And now the whole BJP has temporary recall amnesia. They have short-term recall problems. They don't know what they're coming and going. Home Ministry does not know what's happening. Can we please get some attention in this country? People are dying across the nation. Dalits were tortured and humiliated. Fires were set elsewhere. The farmers were mowed down. But of course, nobody knows. We have to wait for the Supreme Court. More and more legislative assemblies and parliaments yield and give away our powers to the judiciary because there is no law and order in this country.
All right. Renuka Chaudhary and Alok Vats, thank you both for joining us on NDTV right now. Let's go in for a short break. We will stay with this story and much more on the other side. You're watching Newsroom Newsbreak. I'm Sarah Jacob, and the big story right now, the Supreme Court has come down heavily on the now suspended BJP leader Nupur Sharma, whose remarks on Prophet Muhammad sparked off a massive row. The court was hearing a plea by Ms. Sharma to transfer all FIRs filed against her under one roof to Delhi. The Supreme Court today blamed the now suspended BJP leader for igniting tensions with her comments, saying that she should apologize to India, saying the way she has ignited emotions across the country, that she is single-handedly responsible for what is happening in India today. Her offensive comments were made during a TV debate earlier this month. It has since sparked off massive protests in India, and it spread even to several Gulf countries. It became an international issue, covered internationally, and Indian diplomats were summoned, to be issued severe reprimands. So there's been a huge international fallout of this. The Supreme Court today making the observation that we saw the debate and how she incited matters, and the way she said this is absolutely shameful. She should apologize to all of India. Now, Nupur Sharma's lawyers had requested the court, approached the court on her behalf to request a respite for her, to transfer to Delhi the multiple FIRs that have been filed against her across the country. Now, her lawyers are claiming threats to her life. Since then, after these strong words, and the court, despite these strong words for Nupur Sharma, for the Delhi police and the TV channel that hosted this live debate, did not rule on this matter. And so Nupur Sharma's lawyers have withdrawn the petition. There is a legal fallout to that. And let's try and go across and understand what this actually means. Mr. Aman Lekhi, senior advocate in the Supreme Court, former ASG, joining us. Ms. Lekhi, first and foremost, if I could just get your reactions to these court's strong words, is that unprecedented?
Well, I feel that the blame for our communities of violence is something which we as a society, and I think it's inappropriate to make Nupur Sharma solely responsible for this. I feel that for every Akhlaq or Pehlu, there's always a Kamlesh Tiwari or a Kanhaiya. So as far as our talking about responsibility, the responsibility is joint. In this particular occasion, the issue was not on merits, the issue was of consolidation. I feel the case was one of consolidation. The Supreme Court ought to have retained the matter. And while retaining the matter, its comments on Nupur Sharma are justified. But the point is that they lose perspective because in that event, they seem to suggest that the problem is only one-sided. I feel as a society, we are degenerating into a rather violent community. And as far as violence is concerned, it's become part of our community dynamics. And I feel this was an occasion for the Supreme Court to actually take hold of this matter, censor Nupur Sharma for whatever she did, but nevertheless balance that particular comment by using that occasion to make sensible comments about the polity as a whole and use the judicial process to bring about some element of reconciliation over here, which is badly needed. Because as people, we are at each other's throats, and it's high time we take a step back and become sensible and deal with these others with some modicum of civility and humanity, which is lacking altogether in our society today.
Well said, Mr. Lekhi, but I also want to now ask you on the legalese of this matter. The Supreme Court, even though it has had these very strong words, not just for Nupur Sharma, also for the Delhi police, also for the TV channel that hosted this debate, in the end stepped short of coming out with any verdict on this petition that has been brought to them. What does that mean legally for Nupur Sharma's petition asking for relief? Does that then go back to the Delhi High Court? And if so, do the words that we heard emerging from the Supreme Court have hold any sway on any decision that's made by the Delhi High Court, or does it start off on a fresh note? Could you explain that, how that works out legally to us?
See, this is a petition of consolidation. Consolidation is premised on the fact that multiple proceedings will not lie. Therefore, insofar as the proceedings are concerned, rather than they being disparate and spread across the country, they be consolidated in one particular court. In this particular case, the prayer was for Delhi. The occasion for moving this prayer was set to light. Consolidation has got nothing to do with merits. The comments of the court was on the merits of the matter. Consolidation happens where what is the subject matter of the legal dispute is part of one transaction and can actually be considered to be an aspect which cannot be subdivided and has to be seen holistically. Now, what the Supreme Court had to actually examine was whether there is cause for there being multiple cases with regard to the same statement. Whether the statement is right or wrong was not the ken of the Supreme Court to comment upon, because the issue was consolidation. The consequence of this particular order of the Supreme Court would be that the separate cases elsewhere will continue. There would be no occasion for them to be consolidated in one particular court. And because the Supreme Court, even if it has proceeded not to hear the matter, has expressed itself in no uncertain terms, what the Supreme Court has said will also weigh in on the court sees the matter. So if Nupur Sharma is going to approach these courts either for seeking quashing or to seek bail, the entitlement for her to seek either relief will to a large extent be suspect because of the comments and that the Supreme Court has actually made today. So I feel because the issue of consolidation, notwithstanding the fact that what was said was reprehensible, the court yet had to see whether in law they could be for proceeding in the matter of one case, because it's not as if had the Supreme Court consolidated, Nupur Sharma would be left off the hook. Only question would be Nupur Sharma would be proceeded in accordance with law, but would not have been proceeded against in separate cases. That's all. But now the cases which are there instituted across the country will continue.
All right. And could you also help us, Mr. Lekhi? We're just trying to understand the fact that the court questioned Nupur Sharma's lawyers, asking why her name was not under the petition, and she was there, the court said, under a deceptive name.
Well, I don't understand the reason why that was done. I think it was wholly unnecessary. Nupur Sharma, the fact that Nupur Sharma made the comments, the fact that Nupur Sharma is seeking relief, the fact that cases have been instituted against Nupur Sharma is all known. The reason for it to be under a Zoom name doesn't, in fact, make any sense whatsoever. In fact, whatever I have read about the case suggests that insofar as the averments were concerned, the court had taken objection to what it felt was some element of arrogance in the averment, about which I got absolutely no idea. But it seems that in making the plea, the method of presentation was in some extent, in some way faulty, which the court treats as an affront, considering that Nupur Sharma was before it seeking relief. So for Nupur Sharma to be an assumed name in court, it makes absolutely no legal sense whatsoever.
All right, Ms. Aman Lekhi, thank you so much for your time and helping us understand all that's transpired in court today. Thank you so much. Well, we do have more lawyers joining us to help understand what exactly transpired in court today. We have Varun Singh, a lawyer with the Supreme Court. We have Shahid Ali, an advocate also with the Supreme Court, and Sai Deepak too, all Supreme Court lawyers joining us. First and foremost, Varun Singh, to you, I'm going to ask this to all three of you, your reaction, because, you know, as a layperson outside, it seems like this is really unprecedented for the court to be making such strong statements on a matter that is being heard, on a matter that is playing out in the country as we speak. So your reactions when you heard these strong comments from the Supreme Court judge?
Right. So I think this is kind of a consequences of if you take a highly sensitive criminal matter directly to the Supreme Court. And even though, as rightly pointed out by Lekhi sir, that the matter was only meant for clubbing and it was not on merits, but these observations will weigh heavily on any other matter which the petitioner would file in any other court. Now, the clubbing of matters, of course, cannot take place because the clubbing within different states could have only happened through Supreme Court. So that remedy is no more available, because the remedy before different high courts could be clubbing of cases within one state. So that under 407, that to club cases from Srinagar to Delhi, that obviously cannot happen. Secondly, even now, if she goes to file, the petitioner goes to file a bail petition or a quashing petition, these observations, if they come part of the judicial order, then there would be very, very remote chances of getting any kind of relief. But even if they are not part of judicial order, because they are widely covered now, this will still be a huge issue. And the second thing which the court was very much concerned about is, and which happens quite often, is that stating about things which are sub judice before the court. Now, under the Contempt of Court Act, there is a specific provision under the criminal contempt that matter which are sub judice before the court, if there is any kind of interference in any manner which would prejudice these proceedings, then definitely that could be also held up for criminal contempt. So that the court took very serious cognizance of, and which is why it's a reminder for all the lawyers who speak, including myself, that if the matter is sub judice before the court, then one should refrain from making strong comments or comments at all. Which,
Varun Singh, are you referring to, was the court referring to the TV channel? Is that what you're talking about, the holding a debate on this matter while it was sub judice?
Yes, exactly. So that portion where the court was quite upset about the fact that how the TV channel was trying to take the matter to a particular agenda, that the court was extremely upset about, because of the reason that this is something which could be held up in criminal contempt. Because if you're trying to influence the proceedings by virtue of creating a atmosphere within the country, then of course that could be criminal contempt as well. Which is why it is advisable for all of us not to speak when the matter is actually pending. To say
so logically, action could be taken against the TV channel too, based on the court's observations.
Absolutely. That's a possibility if the court feels that this is coming in and interfering with the administration of justice.
As Aman Lekhi said, there should be collective responsibility. All right, Shahid Ali, if you can, I want to just throw across what Varun Singh has said. One, importantly, that these sorry, we don't have the line with Shahid Ali. We have Sai Deepak on. So Varun Singh making two important points here. One, that the observation will weigh heavily on any other matter that comes up, like if Nupur Sharma's lawyers take this matter to any other court. But two, he says clubbing cannot take place because whether or not FIRs from across the country can be brought under one roof under Delhi or under any state can only be decided by the Supreme Court. If so, then Sai Deepak, why did the court ask Nupur Sharma's lawyers why they've approached the Supreme Court and they should have gone first via the High Court route?
See, firstly, I believe that the Supreme Court's observations asking for an apology from the person is frankly problematic because it is beyond the pale of the Supreme Court's powers within the Constitution. This is not for the Supreme Court to do, and according to the court, this is for the magistrate to decide. The extraction of an apology or the insistence on apology almost indicates a predetermined, let's say, outcome here, because then it prejudices the trial ultimately. Secondly, as you rightly said, since this High Court is at best capable of exercising jurisdiction with respect to a particular state, it is only the Supreme Court that a party can approach in the first place if it wants all these cases in multiple jurisdictions to be transferred to one particular jurisdiction. So what she has done doesn't reek or smack of arrogance, I'm sorry to say, but is a textbook case of a litigant invoking standard remedies available in the law. This is par for course that happens before the Supreme Court on a daily basis. So that's point number two. Point number three, as Mr. Varun Singh rightly points out, her only remedy at this point is to knock the doors of the High Court of each state, wherever these cases are, asking the court to club those cases in one particular case in that particular state. But that still means that she's supposed to be defending herself in multiple states, which is what she was trying to work against, rightly so, and expectedly so, which is a matter of, let's say, as a matter of course, it should have been done so in the first place in this case. It has happened in multiple cases. Anyone who appears before the Supreme Court will tell you this happens in matrimonial cases, this happens in criminal cases on a regular basis. So the observation that this reeks and smacks of arrogance and this smacks of overreach beyond the magistrate's powers, I'm sorry to say, doesn't cut ice. It doesn't hold water factually or legally.
But what about the court's observations also on the fact that this investigation here in under the Delhi police really seems to have gone nowhere, really. The court making an observation that Nupur Sharma seems to be treated with kid gloves. Nupur Sharma seems to be given a red carpet treatment. Yes, the Delhi police may have been the first state to file that FIR, but since then the FIR just seems to be lying on cold ice.
So there are two different aspects here. It is certainly well within the court's powers to ask the police authorities in Delhi to expedite the investigation and to treat her in a manner that she deserves to be treated under the law as any other person who is accused. That's a different issue. But she can't be held responsible for the action or inaction of the police. And most importantly, how does this have a bearing on the relief that she has sought? Now, therefore, is the court saying that because the police is giving you a special treatment, we will not allow this particular transfer, then what stops the court from transferring all these cases to any other jurisdiction but to one place, if not Delhi? That is certainly a remedy that's still available if the court believes that she's being given special treatment, which still is something that the court is not in a position to say at this point. On what basis are these statements being made? So many people against whom comments have been, let's say FIRs have been registered, from Mr. Owaisi to everybody else, they're all scot-free. So what is the special treatment that's being extended to her factually speaking? Let's call out this thing. I'd like to certainly ask this question. So I'm sorry to say, the entire tone and tenor of the observations has the effect of...
As lawyers who raise the issue of special treatment, those words were raised by Nupur Sharma, saying that, they're not asking for special treatment. It was then the court that made the observation that far from, she has actually been getting special treatment that others haven't. When you have cases, FIRs being filed in other cases, the alleged accused then are arrested immediately. And that's not what the case is, what we've seen with Nupur Sharma.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say, that even if she has raised this particular issue, the point that she is basically saying is, I am being treated at par with everybody else. I have not been extended any special treatment insofar as the investigation is concerned. And all I've asked is that...
That is not what the court has pointed out. Like if you compare the treatment that if you have an FIR filed in other cases, let's even say, the case earlier this month where you had the fact checker, Zubair being a FIR filed against him and him taken into custody immediately, the same treatment has not been meted out with Nupur Sharma, who has multiple FIRs filed against her in various states.
Aspects here. One is, if there is a special treatment that is being extended to her during the course of investigation in Delhi, that's a different issue from the relief that is being sought with respect to consolidation. So the court is well within its powers to tell the police that she cannot be extended special treatment. That particular observation can come, but that cannot be a basis to deny a relief of consolidation of cases. Here's the point that I've made, specifically saying, if the court believes that the treatment of Nupur Sharma by the Delhi authorities is special, then it can transfer the cases to any other jurisdiction, but one jurisdiction. Consolidation is the issue here. If the court believes that this is what is happening, it can go to some other jurisdiction, but where everything is consolidated. So what is the argument against that? That's what I'm trying to make.
All right.
Secondly, Go on.
No, go ahead. Make your point. Secondly,
See, this is seriously problematic from a very different perspective, which is that if the court comes out with these observations, which it has, and knowing fully well that its observations are usually reported widely, particularly in a case that's watched heavily, and if the order is not caveated by saying that what we say during the course of these hearings cannot affect the prosecution of this particular matter, then there is a serious problem from a trial perspective because it prejudices the actual trial on the merits. Not just that, an insistence on apology without asking whether a particular statement attracts the specific provisions of 295A or 153A, that's for the magistrate to do. That's not for the court to do. The limited issue before the court was not with respect to an adjudication of the merits of what was said. It was on the question of transfer and consolidation. So the observations made by the court have got nothing to do with the relief that has been sought in this particular petition. So there is no
given the fact, your first point that you're raising, that this could affect any future hearings or any matter, the trial when it comes up, the court hasn't yet, given the fact that it's not taking a decision on this matter, automatically means that the observations made here, even as widely covered or not, do not legally affect any outcome of whenever this case goes to court or the Delhi court or any other high court.
Wonderful. In which case the court should not have a problem with a particular matter being discussed on a television channel, because going by that, no issue of public interest or national interest can ever be discussed by any channel for this particular matter, merely because the matter is sub judice. So there shouldn't have been articles and discussions on Ram Janmabhoomi, on Sabarimala, on Triple Talaq. Is that the argument that the court is making here? So please ask yourself what you're saying. If the court believes that the observations of the Supreme Court will not have a bearing on the trial by lower courts, or let's say subordinate courts or trial courts, then the observations made by TV channels cannot have any influence on the course of adjudication also. So how do both these points sit well?
Well, that is a matter for an entirely different debate, and whether observations made in TV studios or in the court actually have a larger impact than they do. Thanks, but thank you for joining us, all of the lawyers who've joined us right now on this bulletin. We're going to go in for a short break. We'll stay with this, bring you more on the other side.